Hello, welcome back. So if you haven't been here before, my name is Vivian, and today I'm going to talk about my thoughts on ADHD medication as a Christian and if I take ADHD medication. Let me lift this up a little bit. Okay. So this is a part of a 30-day unscripted video challenge where I'm kind of challenging myself to record videos that are at least 5 minutes, maximum 10 minutes, so that I can improve my communication, my confidence on the camera, and also so I'm able to share things online that may add value to you in a short period of time every day. So my thoughts on ADHD medication, I guess let me start by answering the question if I take ADHD medication. So I do not take ADHD medication, and there are different reasons why. So at the beginning, I did believe that taking medication for the brain or for mental health was not something that we should be doing as Christians. That's what I believed at the beginning of my journey. I don't believe that anymore. But there was a season where I did have that belief system. I did think that if you're struggling with mental health, then that means you probably don't have a close enough relationship with God. Because if you did, then He was able to work a miracle in your life. If you're struggling with depression or anxiety, well, that's just a sign of God not being in your life, because God is the Prince of Peace. God can pour joy into your heart and all of these things. So if you're struggling with lack of joy, lack of peace, lack of faith, right? You're experiencing fear, then something must be off with your relationship with God, and you need to be better at it. But through the years, I've realized that that's a really shamey way of thinking, and God is not a God that shames us. He is a God of grace, and He's a God that meets us where we are. And if we do need a little bit of help to battle mental health issues such as depression or ADHD, lack of focus, when we're called to have the mind of Christ and things like that, if you do need a little bit of help, that's totally fine. You can get help. That's why He has put resources on this earth. That's why He has equipped people to learn medicine and science. I mean, science is from the Lord, knowledge is from the Lord, and He has given us, the human beings, these tools to help us. So if you are someone that needs that, then by all means take it, right? So I don't believe that if you're a Christian, you should feel ashamed for needing help in taking medication. That's totally fine. Now, when it comes to ADHD, my understanding is that it is something physical that is going on in your brain, something about the neurons not being able to connect as neurotypical brains do when it comes to executive functioning. And so, just how you need glasses to be able to see clearly, if some ADHD medication is going to allow your neuron connections. I'm sorry, I'm not like an expert at these things. It's just my general understanding. If you need help, if you need your neurons to connect to each other, and you need help or stimulation in order for that to happen, then take it, right? If you're struggling with cancer and you need to take chemotherapy to fight cancer, then take it, right? So I think that's totally fine. Now, with that said, I don't believe that should replace our dependence on God. So, with the analogy or the comparison, like with cancer, for example, right? If someone has cancer, and the good solution for their treatment, like the suggested treatment, is to do chemotherapy. They should do chemotherapy, but at the same time, they should continue to practice their faith, right? And declaring that they are healed, that Jesus has taken all of the sickness and the cross, that God is the God that can make the impossible possible, that He is a healer, that He has made the blind see and the lame walk, and declare these truths over your life, I think you should be doing that as well alongside with the treatment. And same when it comes to ADHD. If you have ADHD and you believe or you've experienced that you might need medication, then take the medication, but at the same time, practice declaring the truth of God over your life, right? That you're not lazy, you are diligent in Christ. That if you're struggling with focus, that you have the mind of Christ. That if you're struggling with, I don't know, I literally sometimes pray over dopamine. I ask God, produce dopamine on my brain so that I can do my tasks efficiently today, right? I still pray and I still depend on Him, even though I'm not taking medication. But if I were, I would still practice that, because that is the foundation. Now, and then at the end of the day, I can like leave it at God, in God's hand, and be in communion with Him, you know, because maybe as you declare truth over in your journey, God might nudge you to, hey, why don't you give it a try without taking the medication, and you give it a try. You know, I mean, don't take my word for it. I'm not an expert in these things, but I'm just making hypothetical scenarios that if God is leading you to do something in particular, you know, the only way that you're able to know that it's God who's telling you that is if in your close communion with Him, right? But again, God meets you where you are, and sometimes, you know, you might need, it may be the case that you are someone that needs to take medication for the rest of your life, and that's totally fine too, because God can use that as well. Because God also needs people that are going through that journey, that can reach out to other people that are going through ADHD, and that also their ADHD is so strong that they do need medication as well. And they can meet you, someone that also takes medication, but with the understanding of God's grace, and that still has a close relationship with God and still sees God move in their lives, right? To tell them, yes, it's fine. God meets you where you are, and He loves you just the way you are. And He has put these tools in your life, in our lives, so that we can take them, and it's totally fine, and come as you are. You know, so it's like every journey is different. That's what I believe. And there's nothing wrong with taking medication. Like I said, I do believe that God has placed doctors and science and knowledge and all of these different discoveries to help us. And if we need these tools, then by all means, we should take them. Now, regarding me taking ADHD medications, the reason I do not take them is, again, it's not that I have anything against it. I don't think that God frowns upon that or anything like that, or that if I took them, then something is flawed with my faith. In all honesty, I did actually take them, and I did share that in a previous video. I took Adderall for a quick season. It was 20 mg that they prescribed to me, and honestly, I was tripping. My anxiety was through the roofs. I was super hyper self-conscious about every little thing that I did. I was just very anxious, more sensitive. I felt like my rejection sensitivity was even way stronger, and it was just I felt like I was tripping. So because of that, I did go back to my doctor. I asked her if she could maybe lower the dose, which she did. She lowered the dose, but I was never able to actually try it. Because that's when I started trying to get pregnant, and you're not supposed to take that medication when you're trying to get pregnant. And if I'm honest, also, I was diagnosed as an adult, and I've always been into, I'm gonna run out of time, but I've always been into personal development, into productivity and things like that. So without even knowing that I had ADHD, I started putting into practice a lot of tools, like setting timers for myself, like calendar blocking, like using a planner, like using a checklist, electronics, physical planner. Like I have a lot of tools, and in a sense, I've learned to cope with my own ADHD, and it's not as bad, at least it doesn't feel like that anymore, that now I really don't feel the need of taking it. It's been manageable. It's not interfering with my life in a really bad way for me to feel the need of taking medication. So that's why I don't take it. Now, if it ever came to that point, I might revisit that thought of perhaps taking it, but for now it just doesn't seem like I need it. So Anyways, with that said, those are my thoughts when it comes to ADHD medication as someone that is a Christian, and why I don't take them myself. And yeah, that is all for the video today. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.